It's been a long time coming from the Airsee, South Carolina, baby. Sometimes it feels like the world is against me, 'cause I'm coming from SC, from heartache and pain, struggle and strain, trying to maintain for the SC. So mama, don't worry, I'ma make my dreams happen.
Hi guys, welcome back to the Nail Genie SC. So in today's video, I'm going to be preparing or storing away some polishes. These polishes will be up for grabs. So as you can see in the first part of the video, they were broken down and the pricing is there. It's really just pricing for shipping. But yeah, if you are interested, please hit me up on Instagram or in my email. Guys, if you're interested in making a purchase with the polishes that I'm trying to get rid of, I'm going to say that. Okay. Anyway, in today's video, guys, I'm going to be sharing with you a little bit about how my journey got started in nails. So I've been a licensed nail tech for 4 years now. And when I first started out, nails was not actually what I thought I wanted to do. So the reason I even started a journey, I'm going to say a journey, is because my mother had passed in 2016. And so from 2016 to 2018, I kind of was grieving her a lot. And I was going through bouts of depression and loneliness and all of that stuff. And even though I had a husband and I have a daughter, you know, sometimes it took a lot for me just to get out of bed. And I was working, and I think the only time I would literally get out of my bed is to work. I worked, you know, was a homemaker, all of that stuff. But anytime I could just lay in the bed, I would. So I started watching YouTube videos. I started with cooking channels because that's what my mom was doing after, right before she passed. She actually went to culinary arts school to become a chef. And the year prior to her passing, they told her that she would have to stop cooking or stop going to culinary arts school because she couldn't carry the utensils, the bags, the luggage going up and down the stairs and all of that stuff. They told her that she would have to stop. So my mom, I don't think she stopped right away, but she ended up having to stop. But however, she never did get her culinary arts degree. And so that's why I thought I want to cook, just because I just wanted to honor her in some kind of way. Then I went on this whole cooking span, even tried to do a YouTube for cooking and everything, but my head was just not in the game. Every time I would do something, I'd be excited for it, but then that excitement is short-lived. So I started watching nail videos, and I became a nail connoisseur. I was always going to the hair store, or I was going to CVS or Dollar Store or Family Dollar. Anywhere they sold press-ons, I would buy press-ons. So I was into Kiss, the brand Kiss. And I would just buy the nicest press-ons I could find and put them on my nails. And I was bonding the press-ons so well that they would last like 7 to 14 days. And my aunts was like, "Who do your nails?" And I'm like, "I do my nails." And so they like, "Huh?" And I said, "These are just press-ons." And they're like, "What?" And so they would want me to bond they press-ons, but I didn't at the time. I was like, "No, I only can do mine." So I started watching V Nailed It, and I started watching Long Hair Pretty Nails, and I can never think of that young lady's name. Her channel sticks out in my, oh God, what is her name? Femi Beauty. I think it's it. Yeah, Femi Beauty. I started watching her, and I was just watching them three. And Natalie Carmona. And I was just watching them and watching them and watching them and watching them. And the more I watched them, the more I kept saying, "Oh, I think I can do it." You know how we do. You become a nail watcher, then you want to become a nail enthusiast. So I bought a kit. I think I bought some poly gel. At that time they had the Wish site, kind of like AliExpress and all of these sites we shop on now. But I bought some stuff off of Wish, and I just bought me a little bitty. I had this little folding table that I would put up in my bedroom, and my husband would just sit and watch me. I bought a little practice hand, and I would just practice on the practice hand. And then I played around with my daughter, practice with her, and practice on myself. But in the meantime, between time while I was doing all of that, I still just could never get the hang of certain things. Like I couldn't get the hang of doing foils, using foils. It's crazy the things I think about where I started and I couldn't get the hang of it then and can get the hang of it now. It's crazy. But anyway, I was trying foils. I tried nail forms. I tried the dual forms with polygel. Did not like it. Couldn't get the hang of it. Crazy. I can get the hang of it now. It's just crazy. But I didn't give up. But what I did is I kept watching, those artists that I was following. Those were the first 4 artists that I was following. And I was watching them. Like long hair, pretty nails, I was watching her faithfully. I really liked Evie. I thought her journey was amazing. Seeing her just learn how to do nails herself and do them on herself was just amazing to me. V nailed it, and Natalie Carmona I was excited about because they both, were started out doing nails at such a young age and became nail salon owners and, doing their thing and actually, just changing what you think about nails. And then Femi Beauty and all of the tricks that she had with polygel was just absolutely amazing. And so I was like, yeah, I want to see. I want to try to see what I can do. But then I took my daughter and we went out on a date, mother-daughter day, and I took her to the nail salon, and I want to get my nails and toes done. And of course, she was young then, but she still wanted to have her nails and toes polished. So I took her, and we got our nails and toes done. And she got to sit in the little kitty pedicure chair, and she was excited for it. My daughter always have been a little princess. She always have loved getting her nails and toes done, her hair done. She just loved being a little girly girl. She always have been. And but when I walked out of there and I paid that bill, I was like, I'm gonna have to learn how to do nails myself. That bill was ridiculous. I can't remember exactly the amount, but I know it was about $200. And I was like, yeah, no. I can't do this. And of course, my daughter gonna want nails. And I'm thinking about my daughter when I decided, nails, I want to do nails because I'm thinking when she get older, she gonna want to go get her nails done. I'm not trying to pay nobody to do no nails. These places, they not getting cheaper. They getting more expensive, right? And so I start talking to my husband. Well, actually, I start watching I Am Biscuit here on YouTube, aka Crystal, and she was doing nails, and I first watched her create her own acrylics using chalk powder, or I think it was chalk. And I was like, oh, I could do that, trying to learn how to mix my own acrylic that way so I could practice. And so that's where I first came across her channel. And then I saw her begin her nail journey. I could relate to her. She was working, she was a full-time worker and then trying to go to school. So when I saw her journey and I listened to her tell her journey and saw her journey, I was excited about it, and I started talking to my husband about, well, maybe I should go to nail school. And I think we talked about it for at least a year. And I think that following year I was committed. I told him I really want to go to nail school. And he was like, well, babe, if you really want to go to nail school, let's start looking for some schools. And so everything I was pulling up online in my area, I kept seeing cosmetology. And I didn't want to go to I didn't want to do cosmetology because I didn't want to learn all of the other niche. I wanted just to learn how to do nails. That's it. I was looking at my age and I was thinking, yeah, I don't want to spend that much time in school, trying to learn all these things that I'm not going to use. I just want to do nails. I just want to do my nails. I want to be able to do diamond nails. And I want to be able to know how to do the nails properly, right? Because, I could have, if I was just going to do men diamond nails, I could have just learned like everybody else learning from the YouTube creators that had already came on the platform. But for me, I've always been the type of person, if I'm going to do something, I want to do it all the way, right? So I said, okay. So I started looking in my area. And then I finally found a nail school that I found two. And one, I was looking at the location. Location was everything for me. Because the area I live in, I was fairly new to the area. I really didn't know much about the area. And so I was scared to drive the area in the evening because I needed an evening course. And so I found a school that was near my church. And I was like, that's the school I want to go to. So I told my husband about it. And we looking at the prices, we looking at everything, and we trying to decide, if financing or do we want to pay straight out. And that year we was blessed. And so I was like, my husband was like, he went to the school. I was at work. He went to the school. He enrolled me in the school. And then when I got off work, he told me, I talked to the owner of the school, which was my instructor at the time. And she wants you to come in, sign your paperwork, meet, they want to meet you and everything. So we went after I got off work to the school because she had a class happening at that time and she was still there. And so when I met her and her sister, which is the owner, and her sister was her, was one of the instructors too. I was just like, oh yeah, I love this school. And it's like you get a vibe when you go and enroll in school. You'll know, it's almost like the school chooses you. You don't choose the school. The school chooses you. And if you get a good vibe, you're gonna learn, you're gonna benefit from the school. And so I got a good vibe off of both of the instructors. They told me I was going to be taking the night classes. She was getting my books and everything together. She was telling me that I would come back. She'll call me in a couple of days to pick up my books. So I told her okay, because I knew I worked in the daytime. And so I told her I'll just come after I get off of work. So she was like giving me my schedule and everything like that. So my husband had paid for the school straight out. So I didn't have to do the financing or anything like that. So I was getting all excited. I was so excited. I was so excited that I was getting ready to start school. And I was just geeked about it. And then, so I went a few days, got my books, got my stuff. Really, I just got my books. Because they give you the kit and everything when you get to school your first day. So, when I started school, I was so excited. Guys, it's so exciting to go to nail school. I know for those of you that went to night school, went to nail school, either whether it's a day class or a night class, the excitement of starting your journey and doing something you really wanted to do is exciting, like the first day of college or the first day of school or whatever, right? And so, I was so geeked. And so when I pulled in to start my first day, I seen a bunch of ladies just pulling in at the same time as I was. And so they all was getting out and we all was going in. We all looking at each other. And I think it was about 18 ladies in my class. If that many. I can't remember. But it was pretty much a full class for night. For it being a night class, it was good many of us in there. And so of course, I went to the front because I wanted to, I just was in it. And I wanted to get every ounce and bit of information I could possibly get. And so I met a few friends. My partners became my friends. And it was just a fun time. Really, it was. We had a good time learning about nails, learning about, product and things that I share with you guys now on the Wednesday videos is the things that I was learning in nail school. Plus, we will have time to create. We have time to do each other's nails and practice on our trainer hands. And then the last few weeks of school, when we was about close to our hours, and I think my course was 3,000 hours. So for my school here in the state of South Carolina, the school I went to, it was 3,000 course hours, and 3,400 for school, 3,500 for school. And my classes were from 5 to 10 every night. And I was lucky because the job I worked on, I usually get off like at 6. But my boss let me come in an hour early because they wanted to support me on my journey, which I'm so grateful for. And I always will forever be grateful for that. And yeah, it was just a fun time. I really did. And sometimes we would get done early so we can leave early. And that was always a plus because I had to get home. At that time my daughter was she was old enough to watch herself, so she would, in between my husband going to work, the days he had to work, and the time I can get out of school, that was fine. My daughter would just wait, be in her room studying or whatever the case may be, wait for me to get home. My husband would set the house alarm or everything, and everything worked out. So God was good to us. It always worked out. Yeah, it was fun. School's fun. I would tell anybody, if you want to go to school, go to school. So after I went to school, I graduated. I did my 3,000 hours. I graduated in June of 2021. I told myself I was going to go right away and do my test. So you have to go in and take your practical, and you have to go in and do theory. Both of them are 2 separate places, 2 separate locations. Depends on what area you in. And my area is 2 separate locations for 2 different tests. Okay, so my theory would be in the upstate where I live. I called and I scheduled for my theory. They looked at the schedule, see if there was some availability, let me know my available date. Now, in the state of South Carolina, I'm not sure about any other state, but in the state of South Carolina, you can't you can't schedule for any of your tests to get your license until you completely pay for your course. So I thought I was going to see all my classmates, testing, but I didn't. I don't even know if, I don't know, but I'll tell you guys when I talked about practical, how many of my classmates I did see. But you have 2 years after you have up to 2 years after completing the course to apply for your license. If you don't apply for your license within the 2 years, then you have to take the test. You have to go take the course all over again. So you have to go to nail school all over again and get that 3,000 hours again. So my mind, I was like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm not going to even wait 2 months. I want to do it right out of the school, because at the age and stage I am, information, I need that information to stick, right? And so I studied. The day I graduated, throughout school I studied. The day I graduated, I studied. After school, after I graduated my class, I studied. Even when I signed up for the test, because I think my test, I wasn't going to take the test for like 2 weeks prior after I got out of school. So I enrolled for my theory. And I study, because that's the one you have to actually study. That's your book. That's everything that you learned from the books, right? So how I studied was I removed all of the questionnaires that I had filled out from my coursework and put it in one binder. Like, I went to the store, I bought 2 separate binders. I put the questions from my foundational book and one from my nail book. The questions from my nail book in one, my definitions in the other. And so I had all of my questions, all of my definitions, plus, with the questions, you already have the answers. Because your answers really is in the back of your study books. But if you actually went over the answers with your teacher, you have the answers, right? So I would study. I would not stop studying. I would study on my lunch break. I would study during every break I had, every 15-minute break. I would study all the time. When I get off of work, after I cook, when I'm, preparing to lay down, I'm studying before I close my eyes. I mean, I just studied because I was serious. I was like, I want to pass straight out the gate, because I know people who did not pass. They didn't pass on the first try. They didn't pass on the second try. And that's how it is. But every time you don't pass, you have to wait 30 days before you can take that particular test again. And so I was like, I don't want to have to wait. So when I went to go take my theory, I was just like, Jeannie, don't second guess yourself. Just go straight in, and you know the information. Don't get overwhelmed. And so, because some people are great, they know the information, but they're just poor testers. They just cannot, they get panicky, they don't, And so when you go to take your theory, you're not the only, nail school people are not the only people in there taking their theory. You have everybody under the umbrella of cosmetology in there. So you have barbers, you have estheticians, you have ladies who do hair, cosmetologists, and you have your nail techs, and you have all of the people that's under that umbrella doing a test. And so your test will not be the same. And so when you sign in to the computer, it gives you your test. And so I can't remember if they gave me my number before I went in, or they just went by my last and first name and the last of my 4-digit social. I can't remember, but either way it go, I went in, signed in, I did my test. I think the test was like 90 minutes, but I think I got done before 90 minutes. Now, when you take your theory and your practical in the state of South Carolina, they will give you your test scores right out the gate. So I went out, the lady at the front desk, I sat down in a chair. The lady at the front desk called my name. She handed me a piece of paper, and I went out the door. Now, the one thing they'll tell you when you take your theory is don't make no reactions. When you get your test papers, don't react in any kind of way. Just get your score and exit the building. You could do all of that outside. Your excitement, your disappointment, whatever it is, you can do it outside the building. So I was like, okay, so I just grabbed my paper. I didn't even look at it, because I was like, I don't know if I want to be excited before I get out the door, because I don't want to react, right? I don't want to do what they told me I can't do. And so I just grabbed my paper. I got on the elevator. I went down the elevator and went to my car. And when I got to my car, I looked at my paper and I scored, and it said I passed. And I mean, I scored high, but I passed. And I was so excited. I was just like, yes. I was in my car just like, yes. So excited, because there was one test down, one to go. And so I was like, okay, you one step closer. And I was so excited. I just didn't know who I wanted to scream to the top of my lungs to tell, but I just was like, call my husband. So I called my husband. I said, I passed. And he was so excited, but he was like, okay, I'm trying to go to sleep. Leave me alone. I got to go to work. And so I was excited about passing my theory. And so I called to schedule for my practical. Now, practical was, I have to go out of my area, not out of my state, but go out of my area and go to another city, and leave my city to go to another city. So I had to go to Columbia, South Carolina to take my practical. So my husband had planned a weekend of it. So he was like, okay, we'll just go and stay. That way you're not, and I'm going to tell you guys why I'm so glad he decided to do that. But so we planned that trip around my practical day to be there. So they say you have to be there, you have to have your kit in hand and all of that stuff. So you already have your kit from school, and that's the kit you keep until you go to your practical. You don't mess with anything out of that kit, because once you graduate, your teacher tell you, when you in school, your last couple of days of school, you already going over how the practical going to go, right? Because the instructors already know how your practical is going to go. So they're going to tell you and walk you through the steps. You have 1 minute or 2 minutes to perform a task, right? And so she readied us by having us pack our kits. That's our kits that came with our purchase when we got into school. We had our kit for our practical, which we never touched until you never touch that kit until the last day of school, where you packing the kit to take with you to your practical. You have another kit that is used for school. So we got 2 kits. Our one kit was the kit for testing, and the other kit was a kit for use. So I hope that makes sense. So I never touched that kit. I only had it. So when it was time for me to go to practical, I just grabbed my box. I had my brand new hand. I had my box. And so I was like, okay, I've not touched the kit since we packed it at school. So everything should be in there. It should not be an issue or a situation. There was a change made right before we graduated, and we didn't have to take our water bowl because they went to waterless manicures. So you could either take the water bowl or you didn't have to take the water bowl. And so I decided not to take the water bowl because I thought it'd just be too much, right? If I don't have to take it, I'm not taking it. And so I didn't take it. And so when you get to Columbia, they give you a number. You sit and you wait. It was so many people there. So many people there taking different tests. Barbers, cosmetologists, nail technicians, estheticians. You had so many people there. And they are so strict. It's like, so I met a lot of people. I met girls from North Carolina. I met girls from Florida. I met girls from New York. I met girls from all over. And a lot of them was like trying to transfer their license from one state to another. Some of them didn't have to take a class. They already had their 3,000 hours. They just had to take the test so they can get their South Carolina license. But I met a lot of people. Oh, I had so much fun conversating with so many different nail techs from other areas. Some girls been in the game 10 years, some been in the game 20, some had been in the game and left and came back. And fairly majority of them was new. Some of them was only a year in, 2 years in, some of them fresh out of school like me. But I only seen one of my classmates, just one. And I was like, oh my God, I only see one of my classmates. So me and her talked. We both had our practical. She had hers scheduled earlier than mine. So she was there and leaving when I was trying to go in and take my practical. But everybody's testing is a testing block. So everybody not gonna be in there at the same time, of course, because you got so many people there. So I was glad that my husband had decided to get us a room to stay, because my test ended up being like that evening. Like I got called in that evening and I didn't get done until like, I think my testing was like at 3. I got done at like 5. I think it's a 2-hour testing. I'm trying to think, is it 2 hours or hour and a half? I can't remember, child. It's been so many. It's been a good minute ago, but I think it was either hour and a half or 2 hours. Then I had to wait 3 hours before my test scores came in because they had a situation with the computer. The computer crashed, and I was just so grateful that we decided to stay because my daughter, my husband, my daughter was in the room. So when I was still downstairs, they was ready to eat. They was so hungry. They was like, okay, when are you gonna be done? I'm ready to eat. So finally they gave us our test scores. I passed. I was so excited. I went up to the room. I told my husband I was jumping around. They was so excited, but they was ready to eat. And so I called my brother and my sister. I told them I passed, and they were so excited for me. And we went down. We had dinner in the hotel lobby, and then the following day we took our daughter to the Columbia Zoo and made a day of it, and then we left and went home after that. So it was just a good weekend. It was so good. It was just, I was so relieved. I was like, okay, I'm done. I have all my paperwork. And so they was like, you can use your certificate and you can use your testing papers until your license come in. If you're going to go out and try to work in a salon, you can give them these 3 things, and you should still be able to get your job. In the salon, you have to get your own insurance. You have to get your tax ID number and all of that stuff. So I had already was on top of that. I was like, okay, because I didn't know if I wanted to go work in the shop or not. I kept deciding if I wanted to do my own thing in my own home or did I want to go to a shop. It probably was best if I went to a shop. I would probably be quicker, faster, and have way more clientele. But of course, me being the age I was, and at the time I was working, still I was a full-time employee still. I was like, well, you know what? I don't want to work in a shop right now. I just do stuff on my own. Excuse me, guys. I got the hiccups. So anyway, I started, my daughter had a playroom in our home, which is now my nail lab, but me and my husband started removing, taking things out, because my daughter had got older, and she wasn't even in that room anymore. So we had already started giving away things and taking things to friends and family and co-workers, for their little young ones or whatever. And the rest of the stuff, we put it in totes. My daughter had it in her closet for a little while until she outgrew it. Then we put it in storage. And so I started changing over the room. Well, I didn't have anything yet. And I needed to do my floors. Because before I graduated, we had started moving me into that room. And I only had carpet on the floor. But I knew if I was going to take clients, I would have to really get the room prepared. Like if I was working in a salon or a salon suite. And the one thing in nail techs, you cannot have carpeted floor. You got to have a hardwood floor. Because you got to be able to sweep the floor. You got to be able to mop the floor daily. So I was trying to label everything and just do that. But in the meantime, while I'm trying to get my space set up, I also had to apply for my insurance, liability, as well as apply for my tax ID number, as well as my LLC. So I did all of that, and that takes a minute. You really want to. And then I was waiting for my license to come. You have to do a they want you to send in a photo, like a passport photo, and I kept missing the mark, and so I ended up having to finally get that squared away and get that right. But that's the only way you can get your license. You got to give them a photo of you, and I'm not sure if I had to do that while I was in school or while I was I think right when I got my license, I had to do that. And so I had to figure that out, get that done, get that sent off to Colombia. And yeah, everything I had to do, it had to go through Colombia, and wait for it to come back. And so you all know, if you ever dealt with anything state ID or government issue, it can take a minute for things to come back. If you don't have it right, they'll send you an email. You have to resubmit things. So yeah, and all of that, you want to make it right, but sometimes you just don't know. And so if you don't know, you just don't know, and you just have to, put out the funds to get it right. So it was easy for me to decide to become my own entrepreneur, because I was working prior to actually becoming a full-time nail tech. So later on, my daughter started getting into some trouble at school, which has been the story of our life. And I had to stop working, so I just picked up more clientele. I had a lot of clientele in the beginning, and this is for anybody out here who's starting out your journey. And please don't get discouraged. You're gonna have people who support you in the beginning, and they might not come back, because for one thing, with me, time always been not my best friend. I'm not fast. I'm not a fast nail tech. I am a quality nail tech. I'm not a quantity nail tech. And of course I want to be both. But because of, I guess I could say, because of my husband and his, when one door shut for you, God opened up other doors, other ways. And my husband just started getting promoted, and he started making more money and getting offered more this and more that. And it just put more of a relax on me. And he put a relax on me. He didn't make me feel like I had to go find another job, or I'm forced to do this. And believe me, struggles was there, but we just trusted God for everything, and he always made a way for us every time. And just having a pleasant partner in your life who is supportive of you, that makes all the difference as well. When you on this journey, or any journey, when you trying to start anything you do in life, having a supportive partner or having supportive people in your corner will help you a lot. I mean, a lot. When you want to give up, when you get discouraged, they pushing you, they egging you, they telling you it's okay. Because I made so many mistakes on my journey. I remember one time I was doing a client, and I forgot to do the primer. I forgot to do the whole prep thing. I was so excited for the set that I just skipped over all of the things I'm supposed to do. So then, like, every time I would have a client, I would have these, like, the first year of me doing nails, every time I would schedule a client, I have these jitters. I can't sleep the night before, because I'm thinking, okay, I got to do this, I got to do that, I got to try to be faster, they want this. Am I going to be able to do this the correct way? I'm studying, I'm looking on YouTube, I'm researching how you do this, how can I do this better, how can I make this quicker, da-da-da-da-da. I mean, it was something all the time. I think about a year out of school and a year having my license, I kind of got a little bit relaxed. I kind of got to the place where I was like, Jeannie, stop stressing. Just go into the service. Don't stress about it. Because I'm telling you, I would stress about every client I was getting. I would just get all palm sweaty and feeling like I'm going to make a mistake, I'm going to hurt them, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. Everything that I learned is just kind of like, my memory was just like freezing on me, and I'm like, I'm looking around. So I had to write out my steps and put them like in front of me when I have a client, like put them on my desk where I could see them and know that I'm not missing a step on my clients, because I just get so nervous and I get so ahead of myself. I'm just looking, and finally I had to tell myself after being on this journey now, I focus only solely on what I'm doing in the moment. Like, if I'm going to do prep, I'm focusing on your prep. If I'm going to do application, I'm focusing on the application. Don't even show me the design until we there. That's what, besides sending me the design week ahead of time or whatever, I don't look at the design. I won't pull that design again until I'm getting ready to do the design. I just don't overwhelm myself anymore. And I would tell you, if you on this journey and you have experienced it, or you feeling like that may be your experience because you coming out of nail school, or you thinking about going to nail school, and you thinking about all of the things that's going to happen after nail school, these are the things I would tell you. Don't be too hard on yourself. Pace yourself. Don't worry about the negative. Focus on the one thing you can control, and that's your application, your prep. Try to, if I could speak to my former self, I would tell myself, time yourself. Keep timing yourself. Keep timing yourself so you can get better and better and beat your own time. I didn't do that, so it has not worked well for me this summer. Particularly because I gained a bigger clientele this summer. So I've had to push myself this summer, which, I thank God for my A1 Day 1 clients that's been coming to me for the 4 years that I've been doing nails. They keep me comfortable. But the newer clients, they test me and they push my back. They push me to places I needed to go. I'm not angry at that. I'm more angry at myself for not focusing on thinking or feeling like I need to get faster. Because I never know what God has in store for me from one summer to the next, to be honest. Sometimes when I started this journey, I had a lot of clients. Then I went to having only 2 clients. For, I know, a couple of years? 2 clients. And so it's like, I don't know. It's up and down on this journey. So if you decide that you want to work in your own space, network, and putting yourself out there, that's, especially if you young. Me, I'm kind of in that age range where, I got more years behind me than I do ahead of me. So, especially in this nail game. But if you are a young person starting out, invest in yourself. Take the courses, take the extra additional classes, continue your education. Go take nail art classes. Go take anything you can take to enhance your training, your career. Time yourself. Be patient with yourself. But, also, think about, where you want to be in 5 years. Think about where you want to be headed in 10 years. Especially when you're young. If I had started this journey when I was my younger self, when I tried at 19, and if I would have just stuck with it and made it stick, Lord knows where I'll be right now. Lord knows where, financially I would be right now. I don't know. But, I have a great clientele now, and they believe in me, and they help me believe in myself, because they always meet me with a challenge, and we do the best we can to make it work the best we know how, and I am happy with it. They happy with it, and that's all that matters at the end of the day. So this journey wasn't hard. This journey wasn't hard at all. It's had its hard times, but it was not hard to do. And I feel like if you want to go to school, go to school. If you don't ever want to go to school, then don't ever go to school. I mean, the only difference between you going to school and me not going, and you, okay, the difference between you going to school and not going to school is all in clientele and being able to charge your worth. In certain states, it's necessary to have a license in order to have paying clients. But in some states, you can just have a certificate and you be able to still take clients and have paying clients. I know in my state, that's not the case. If you get caught without a license and practicing doing any type of cosmetology work, you could lose out getting your license ever. So even if you was like, I went to school, I got certified, but I don't have no license and I'm taking clients, I'm charging people, and LLR come in, they can shut you all the way down. They can fine you $5,000, 5 grand to 10 grand, on whatever, they can fine you however much they feel like they need to fine you for what you're doing without a license. So that's just chances I would not take for myself, ever, because, the consequences is much worse than, than just going to school, paying that money and getting the proper education so you can get your license. But all of it is a paying thing. So remember this. You pay for school, but they don't pay for your license. They don't pay for you going to take your test, take the test that you need to take. Everything after that, you're still paying for. So you paying to take your test. You paying, you paying to take both tests. You're paying to get your license. Then, in 2 years, you have to do continuing education. Now, the first 2 years out of nail school here in the state of South Carolina, you don't have to pay. You don't even have to take your continuing education course. The following 2 years, you up for taking your course. But I took my course every 2 years. I didn't give myself that probation period. So, every time I took the course, it was $100 every time I had to go and take my continuing education course. So always keep that in mind. Anytime you're going to take any extra courses to help get you more certificates on your wall, that's going to be money invested. So invest in yourself. That's what I'm telling you. Invest in yourself. If you can, please do, especially younger people, when if you have a strong support system like your family, your parents that's saying, hey, get on your feet. Don't worry about it. You can be here. Just get on your feet. Take advantage and be appreciative, because if you don't have other bills that's hitting you upside your head, take advantage, because it'll pay off in the long run. You'll be able to be even more successful in your business. The more credentials and accolades you have on your wall, the more things the more things that will come your way, and the more people you'll be able to put in your seat. I will also suggest, if you young, and even if you're not young, you young as you feel. So young is not me saying you have to be a teena bopper. What I'm saying is, however you feel, if you feel like you young and you can handle the clientele and the overload or whatever, go to a shop. Get yourself positioned in a shop. Give yourself a year in that shop to gain, clients, and gain your own personal clientele, because if you are really good at what you do, the people will follow you. And believe me, your clients, if they love you, they will go wherever you going. It doesn't matter. If you going in your own suite, they come into your suite. That's the thing about this business. We do what we got to do to get what we want to get to. And, sometimes that may affect the business that the business owner that we're working under. But if they really care about you and they really want to see you grow, then they'll be understanding, because that clientele, people going to stay getting their nails done if they can. Or they're going to stay getting their hair done. They're going to stay getting something done, whatever the case may be. Their grooming is very necessary, and people are going to do that. They're going to spend their money where they want to spend their money. If they got to cut something else, they'll cut something else if that's what they really love. Like, I have a client, her nails is her thing. And she always been the type of person that, hey, my sister, hair is her thing, nails is my thing. So I'm spend my money on my nails. And, that works for me because I'm the nail tech, right? So people will pay for what they want. You just got to be willing to, be able to give them the service they deserve. And that'll be my tip. But this has been my journey so far. I decided to do YouTube when I started my journey. But I didn't really get good into my YouTube journey for, I guess, about a year after I thought I wanted to try YouTube. I didn't take it seriously for, I guess, a year after I started taking it more serious. And that's where all this content come from now. And I fell back a lot this year. 2025 haven't been so kind. I don't know if it's been kind to any of us, but it hadn't been so kind, and I kind of go up and down. But my summer was, when I say it hadn't been so kind, it just a lot of things are happening. But it has been a blessing because over the summer, I gained a lot of clientele that I could not keep up with the whole video and the clients. And yeah, guys, I just could not. I had to focus on getting the clients out the chair, and that was the thing. I was having 2 clients a day type situation, which I never have, or sometimes 3, which I never have. I never schedule like that, but sometimes it's necessary because you want to meet people where they at, and you don't want to have to tell them no. And so yeah, so this week, guys, I am pulling back a little bit. I'm not taking any clients this week. I'm taking this week. Only time I have a client is Saturday, but I don't take clients on Monday and Sunday. But I make my own. Oh, that's another thing. When you go into business for yourself, you need to make you got to do your pricing list. So you want to check around and see what the prices are around, so you can stay in comparison or compatible in the price range. Depends on your location. Also, you set your own schedule. You need to come up with your policy. If you're doing a like I want to have a booking site next year. I'm thinking about creating getting a booking site where my clients can book online. But if you do decide to do that, make sure you get the right booking site and put in there everything that you want to say, because in this business, time is money and money is time. Okay, so it's like, for me, I've been noticing that for the last 4 years, I kind of been very easygoing and very lax on my clients. Some of them do the no call, no show thing, and I kind of just let that slide. Well, when you busy, like I've been busy this summer, it's like, no, I'm not letting that slide. So I had to redo my policy again. I had to update my policy. I hadn't had an update on my policy since I started my business. So I updated my policy. I got an updated pricing list. Also, I do a client consultation form, so every new client that come in, I can know what their ideal service is and what is their expectations from me as a nail tech. What did you start? Why do you want to get your nails done? Are you just getting your nails done for the appeal or the look of it? Or do you want your, what is it? What's your end goal for your natural nails? That's my thing when I'm talking with my clients. I want to know what your goal is for your natural nails. Not for your enhancements, not for this enhancement journey, but for your natural nails. What kind of nail beds you have? Are they weak? They brittle? They strong? What are they? I need to know all of these things going in, so I know that what I'm doing is only going to be beneficial to your natural nails. Not beneficial to, the look of your hands of course I'm going to make your nails look gorgeous. I'm going to do what I'm supposed to do. But at the end of the day, it's not all about the enhancements for me. And I tell this to all my clients, and they all know this. It's not about the enhancements for me. It's about what's underneath the enhancements. It's about your natural nails. It's about making them strong and them healthy. Because if at any time you can't get your nails done anymore and you have to remove the enhancements, I want you to feel comfortable, confident and comfortable being able to wear your natural nail and say, okay, my natural nail bed is strong. And even though I was getting my nails done, they're not weak. They're not torn up. They're not raggedy. They healthy. They strong. They good. I can put some polish on them and keep moving. You know what I'm saying? So that is my goal for my clients. And I tell them, each and every one that come to my seat. Now, if that's not your goal, then I'm probably not the nail tech for you. But if that is your end game or your end goal, then I'm the nail tech for you. At the end of the day, everybody can do nails. Everybody can put some product on a nail. But do I know what I'm doing when I'm putting the product on your nail. Am I paying attention to how this product may be reacting to your nail? You know, that's why we doing the product chemistry now session. And I know it's been a couple weeks since I really been doing anything on YouTube, and I do apologize for that. My daughter just been in and out some trouble at school, and I've been having to deal with that. Then I was sick over the weekend. I had to deal with that. So it's just been a lot going on. But yeah, it's been a lot going on. But however, we'll get back to that. And that's why I hope you guys are enjoying, you know, Educational Wednesday, whether you watch it all the way through or you just skipping through parts. I hope you find some of the information useful that'll help you on your journey, because what you don't want to do is, you know, put yourself at harm's risk or nobody else you service at harm's risk. And you know how to service them. Like for me, my daughter is diabetic, you know, type 2 diabetic now. And when I first started doing nails, she was not type 2 diabetic. So now I have to pay really close attention how I do her nails, what I'm using when I do her prep, to be careful not to cut on her, or not cut on her, because I don't use the word cut, but to nip her. I have to be real careful not to nip her. If I'm trimming her cuticle or whatever, and most of the time I try not to trim her cuticle. I try to just use the cuticle ball bit or just a buffer, abrasive buffer or something, just to be able to make it look halfway decent. And just remove the dead cuticle off the nail plate, because I don't want to take that risk. But a lot of times you have to ask your clients to, you know, they don't have to, you know, they have the option to answer, and they have the option not to answer. And, you know, in my client consultation form, I tell them it's up to you if you want to disclose anything I need to know. And that's only because anything I do, if it's going to put you at health risk, I need to know. That way I don't, you know, make no mistakes. I try not to make any, but it's not always that cut and dry. You know, we are human and we make mistakes. So, yeah. So it's been a good journey. It's still a learning journey. I learn every day. If I'm not learning every day, then I need to go sit down somewhere and find another profession. Because in nails, you learn every day. Okay? So always remember that you are never above, or, you know, you never know everything, and you never stop learning. You have never learned all you can learn in the nail industry, because every day is something different. Every day a new medium is coming out. Every day a new trend is happening. You have something to look forward to, something to learn, something to give to somebody else every day on this journey. I learn from you guys so much. Some of you guys make me remember some of the things that I've already learned, and it just got suppressed or pushed in the back of my memory bank. So I appreciate this journey. I appreciate you guys. I hope me talking about my journey was somewhat helpful. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm sorry I could not be more forthcoming with giving you or showing you information. Apparently over the years, that information has, you know, I've gotten rid of it somewhere, somehow, what I didn't need, or maybe even shared it with someone who was in nail school. I'm not sure. But however, I hope this helped. And if you have any questions, you want to get on this journey, or you have any specific questions you want to ask me, please feel free to leave them in the comment section, or reach out to me through my email, or reach out to me on Instagram. I'll be glad to help you along on your journey. Yeah, I'm thinking about offering some type of something for younger girls who want to get into nails. I'm thinking about offering something, but I ain't decided yet, because that, you know, that comes with a lot too. So I ain't decided. But guys, in that box is 5 different collections. I am going to be giving those away at a $10 price. So $10 for $10 for each collection. It's 5 of them in there. You will see, you saw it on the beginning of the video, and you'll see it at the end of the video what's in there, in that box. If you are interested, please reach out to me on Instagram or through my email, Serious Inquiries Only. If you are interested in getting those polishes for $10, I would send them to you. The $10 is really just to help me ship them to you. It's, you know, I'm not benefiting from that. And so, but I just needed to get rid of some polishes. Simply because I can't use all of this stuff, and I keep buying more polishes. So, I gave away a big box to my niece that went off to college so she can have different varieties of colors and things like that to do her nails in college. But I couldn't give her, you know, no more than, you know, she in a dorm, so I couldn't give her no more than that. And now I'm just going to give away some more. So if you're interested in getting those collections, which you'll find here, you can pause the video. Please let me know. Until then, I'll see you all in my next video. Please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Follow me over on all of my socials at the Nail Genie SC. And I will see you all in my next video.